Right. Hello everyone. Welcome back to my second attempt walkthrough of Dragon Age Inquisition with the Dragon Age Keep choices. If you have not seen the previous videos that with this, watch them first before watching this one. Link below will be once I figure out how to record games on the PS3. Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, but I'll have to be very careful to how I play Dragon Age 2 now, because on my first walkthrough, which would be for this one, Fenris dies in the second game, and on my last one, for some reason he lives, so I'm going to have to be very careful on the choices I make with him. Although it's kind of easy to, for him to get the renegade reaction, because as long as you do all types of mage quests with him and support the mages more, then he gets renegade. So it's kind of easy for him to get renegade stuff. But somehow I just got him to survive on my last one. So I don't know how, but eventually when I do my Dragon Age 2 videos, I have to make sure he dies. And then obviously my first walkthrough of Inquisition without the Dragon Age Keep choices impacted. And then obviously Dragon Age the Veilguard, even though I have no interest in playing that game, but I will still do it regardless, and I just hope that in a few years or so they'll completely redo the game with the Dragon Age Keep impacted choices. Maybe put in the Hero of Ferelden, put in the Champion of Kirkwall, add some DLCs for crying out loud, and make it feel like, oh yes, we're going to be very excited for the Dragon Age 5 game that's eventually going to come. So that's Dragon Age. Other games created by BioWare will also be linked below, such as the Mass Effect Trilogy, Mass Effect Andromeda, and the supposed next Mass Effect game. But that game is already landing in hot waters because of how badly the Veilguard is, so hopefully the next Mass Effect game still happens. And if it becomes a huge success, because let's be honest, the Mass Effect trilogy, not Andromeda as far as I know, were way more successful than the Dragon Age games. So hopefully if the next Mass Effect game becomes a huge success like the trilogy, it motivates them to completely redo the Veilguards and maybe name it Dread Wolf like it was originally called. And then obviously similar type of mythological and fantasy world kind of games will be linked below. Now I gotta go to the specific details, but just similar fantasy and mythological like games will be linked below. And I think that's just pretty much it for games like that. Yeah. So pick it up where we left off. We spent the entire video working on the Western approach, and even though I did not want to spend the entire video working on the Western approach, but we just did it anyway. Finally managed to go all around, especially around here. So, and when it comes to the dragon trapping thing, we're just gonna leave that for another time. So what I'm hoping to do now, just before we move on to Wicked Eyes, Wicked Hearts, and obviously doing some of the side stuff for all the characters here, we are going to go back to Priest de Leon, the Exalted Plains, maybe the Emerald Graves. I don't think there's much to do in the Storm Coast anymore, and Crestwood too. We'll definitely need to go back to Crestwood too. We don't need to go back to the Hinterlands anymore, so if there's not big things for us to do like we just did with the Western approach, maybe we could fit going to Crestwood, Priest, Emerald Graves, and Exalted Plains, all three just like that, along with the side stuff for all the characters here. Although I highly doubt it, because I really want to get this underway. But if there's not a high chance we'll do it in this video, we'll have to do all the adventuring stuff in 2 videos, and then possibly on the 3rd video, we start Wicked Eyes and Wicked Hearts. Anyway, let's start the game.
good book?
Ah! I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait, are you blushing?
What would I have to blush about?
You tell me.
It's of no interest to you, I'm certain. It's a book.
I can see that.
It's one of Varric's tales. Swords and Shields, the latest chapter.
The latest chapter meaning you've read them all?
Not since this all began. We've been busy.
That's just her favorite.
Nobody asked you to winter.
I couldn't finish the last one you lent me. I actually feel dumber for having tried.
It's literature. Smutty literature. Whatever you do, don't tell Varric.
Maybe I should read that book.
You? No!
Why not me?
You're the Inquisitor.
Oh, I see.
They're terrible. And magnificent. And this one ends in a cliffhanger. I know Varric is working on the next. He must be. You could ask him to finish it. Command him to... Pretend you don't know this about me.
Running late again. We have to keep the schedule. Of course. I'm sorry. I'll keep an eye out. He didn't kill his father. He was his father.
May I ask how things are, now that you're more of a spirit?
Questions can be shackles, but you kept me in kindness. I will answer.
What is it like to be this way?
I'm me. More me than I was. I can care and comfort, but keep clean. No shackles. They feel, forgive, forget, and I am free. Finally. Thank you.
Can you tell me more about the Fade, now that you're more connected to it?
It is here, but held. Constrained by a construct. Veiled. Feelings, memories, minds, mortality, all shape it. A glass to hold water. We flow to the deep. Without you, we have nothing. Not even us. That's why we want so much.
You don't mind killing people, even being more of a spirit?
Monsters are easy, mindless, menacing. It's harder when it's people. Venatori, bandits. People who could change. But they chose. They hurt people. We need to stop them. My blades are yours to command. I forget later, so it washes clean.
Can you tell me more about what happened at the Spire? You and the real Cole?
I don't remember. I let that go. It isn't part of me anymore.
I'll talk to you later.
Yes. She hurts, but helping hurts more. She sees the strings that pull me, eyes like raisins in a stale cookie.
How would you like to get out of here? Maybe do something fun?
I don't know. I've never tried.
Come on.
Inquisitor, you honor us with your presence. Will you be dining alone, your worship, or will others be arriving later?
I may have a friend joining me.
Very good, your worship. Right this way, please. Please enjoy your meal this evening, your worship.
You can tell her. She'll laugh and then do it because she loves you. She wants to make you happy.
You saw something in him that needed a word of encouragement.
He wants his wife to tie his hands to the bedposts, little silk ribbons. He worries she'll hate him. She only said it because she was jealous of your shoes. Remember his hand on your waist as the music swelled. So many little hurts, even here, away from blood and battle. I wouldn't have heard them before. Now I can, thanks to you.
So you help them with a few whispered words?
The right words. Plus what I am, a little of me making the happiness stronger, so the pain fades. I don't steal the pain. The nightmare demon at Adamant did that. It made them less so it could grow. I help them heal. They never need to know I was here. You've made me better.
It was my pleasure.
Remember old Maurice, too proud to forgive, gnarled hands clutching the back of an empty chair? Find another path. There was someone, before. He was my friend, but he didn't know what I was. When he found out, he changed. I lost him. You found out, but you didn't change. Didn't make me change. You let me be this, be more. Thank you for helping me find this again, for believing in me. You don't know what it means.
Not really, no, but you're welcome regardless.
You don't need to. It used to help, but it doesn't anymore. Let it go. You were scared, trying to show them you were strong. Find him. Tell him you're sorry. The woman in the red dress thinks you would look good naked. She wants someone to compliment her hat. They will never know, but I know, thanks to you.
Your worship.
I've got a minute if you need something.
Cassandra is waiting for the next issue of Swords and Shields.
I must have heard that wrong. It sounded like you just said that Cassandra read my books.
That's exactly what I just said.
Maybe I'm just going crazy. Wait, did you say the romance serial? Oh, she'll be waiting for a while then. I haven't finished it and wasn't planning to. That book is easily the worst I've ever written. The last issue barely sold enough to pay for the ink.
Well, Cassandra seems to be hooked on it.
And I honestly thought a hole in the sky was the weirdest thing that could happen. So, you want me to finish writing the latest issue of my worst serial for Cassandra? Oh, that's such a terrible idea. I have to do it. On one condition. I get to be there when you give her the book.
You've got a deal.
I'll get to work then. You know, the fact that the book is terrible just makes it more worthwhile somehow.
Yes?
Your lost books have been found.
Your assistance in this matter will not be forgotten, I assure you. Did you need something, darling?
What have you done now?
I get it, Seeker. You're still sore after our spat.
I'm not a child, Varric. Do not suggest I'm without reason.
A peace offering. The next chapter of Swords and Shields. I hear you're a fan.
This is your doing.
Oh, yes. Do you really think I'd miss this?
Well, if you're not interested, you're not interested. Still needs editing anyhow.
Wait!
You're probably wondering what happens to the Knight Captain after the last chapter.
Nothing should happen to her. She was falsely accused.
Well, it turns out the guardsman...
Don't tell me!
This is the part where you thank the Inquisitor. I don't normally give sneak peeks, after all.
Thank you.
Varric's the one you should be thanking.
I am but a humble servant to my loyal readers.
I wonder if I have time to read the first part.
Don't forget to tell all your friends, if you have any. Completely worth it.
Inquisitor.
Your worship.
Before you is Service of the Minrathous Circle of Magi. You met him and his Venatori in the Western Approach. He admits to working for Corypheus, raising monsters, and using magic for conquest. He also used his connections to smuggle magical artifacts out of the Approach, without his master's consent.
You stole from Corypheus. I don't know whether that's stupidly brave or bravely stupid.
I was hired by a third party. I've no loyalty to him. Might you find that useful, Your Worship?
I'm sorry, are you attempting to bargain with us?
Bargain? I plead. I throw myself on your mercy. I also have friends in Tevinter who owe me large debts. Leave what happened in the Approach behind us, Inquisitor, and I can put them all at your disposal.
Leliana will assign agents to you. I expect them to inform me that you've been forthright. If you want redemption, you'll have to earn it.
I can more than pay my keep, Inquisitor. Thank you.
Any news on why Corypheus is sending people to explore elven ruins of all things? No, I suspect he keeps the reason secret even from his inner circle. Let's see what we have.
Work?
Let us begin.
We are honored to serve.
You have completed the order, learned something of my way. A small step. Now you must choose to commit to the role, to the burden of command. Are you willing?
I am ready to listen and learn, Commander.
Then you are a recruit no more. All will see your rightful place. Come, the battlefield awaits. Knight Enchanter.
The new power you wield. I heard from Cassandra that it is the magic of the Knight Enchanters. If I am not mistaken, the techniques descend from those of ancient elven mages, called arcane warriors. I wonder what they would think to see their magic used in defense of the Chantry.
What can you tell me about the Arcane Warriors?
They were elite guardsmen, serving as bodyguards or champions for nobles, as I understand. Mages who focused on spirits or the Fade might sneer at their physicality, but never doubted their honor. They were the living embodiment of will made manifest, mind shaping the body into the perfect weapon.
I doubt they were called Arcane Warriors in Elven.
The formal name for the techniques you have learned was the Durthena and Nasaline, knowledge that led to victory. Mages who eschewed physical confrontation called it Gilanim Banalvan, the path that leads astray.
I hope they would be proud to see another of our people practicing their techniques.
I hope so as well. So much knowledge has been lost. Perhaps having something they created carried forward, even in such a different form, would gratify them. Did you need anything else?
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
It's a noble calling, the Knight Enchanter. You have joined the ranks of the most select mages. You should be commended. So few have the discipline necessary.
I didn't realize you were a Knight Enchanter, Vivienne.
Of course I am, darling. Knight Enchanters serve in the highest echelons of the Chantry and Circle. Where else would I be?
I'm pleased you approve of my choice.
You have your moments, my dear.
Inquisitor!
This is one of the mages I spoke of. It's over. Thank you for bringing us here.
Let's look around.
the hero arrives. But is it hero or murderer? It's so hard to tell.
Who are you?
Call me Imshale.
You're a demon.
Ahem. Choice spirit.
Talky ones. I hate the talky ones.
Wait. These are your friends? They're very violent. It's worrying. True to my name, I will show you that you have a choice. It doesn't always have to end in blood.
No. You die, demon.
Alpha. Choice spirit. If you won't be smart, be afraid.
I'm falling back!
Here we are, Elf. Cleaning up another human mess.
What would the Inquisition do without our stabilizing influence, Master Tethras?
I assume they just start burning things.
That does sound like most humans I know.
Is he gone? The demon is finally gone.
Ah, shit. Delirium has taken hold. He doesn't have long.
Why was the demon here, working with the Red Templars?
A garden needs a gardener. Nurturing gentle hands. Directing the change. Not too fast. Not too slow. Just right. Has to be just right.
I get it. Too fast, and you end up a statue in the gallows courtyard.
There's nothing I can do for you. I'm sorry.
Imshale. He said he could take the red out. If I said yes.
Imshale could have saved you.
He liked to watch the agony. He liked to play. We were his garden. Consent and live. Deny and be consumed. Oh, but what he wanted? No. Anything but that. I chose the red. I chose.
Ah, your worship, welcome. I am Baron Edouard Desjardins of Leeds. I am pleased to meet you. Ambassador Montillier speaks highly of you.
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
Oh, yes. Yves Montillier, Josephine's father, is an old friend. We used to hunt together. I watched her grow up, you know. Such a clever girl. She could charm wolves to dance with hares. I am gratified to see the Inquisition has not overlooked her talents.
What is your role here, Baron?
Oh, well, the ambassador entrusted me with handling the Inquisition's enterprise in the Dales. Much of our efforts are concentrated on rebuilding, eradicating threats, reopening trade routes and such. And of course, I will oversee the forging of relations with the nobles of Southern Orlais.
Any news, Baron?
Judicale's crossing has been rebuilt, thanks to our combined efforts. Scouts have spotted a dragon flying through the hills. If this is a high dragon ready to spawn, there is reason for concern.
I shall take my leave.
Fine day, is it not?
Any news, Baron?
We plan to push into the region to make it safe for trade and travel.
I shall take my leave.
defenses. They're all trapped inside.
time owning grates on the nerves. Trust me.
Who's there? Don't come any closer. We have swords.
Not the welcome I was expecting.
We are the Inquisition, and this is the Herald of Andraste.
The Herald of Andraste! Maker's breath! Forgive me, I should have known.
Commander Jihan, in service of Her Imperial Majesty. Long may she reign. My men inform me that the Citadel's defenses are deactivated. I cannot thank you enough.
Tell me about the situation here.
There were orders. A chance for peace, they said. Pull back, they said. So we did. Then the undead appeared. We couldn't hold them back. I told my men to activate the fort's defenses. A foolish move, born of desperation. There was so much about the old elven magic we never knew. We couldn't control it. We retreated, but not everyone made it through the gates. I couldn't save them. We've been trapped for weeks. Supplies were incoming, but who knows what happened to them.
I found one of your soldiers at the eastern ramparts. She wanted you to have this.
Fabienne's ring. She is gone then. I prayed that she yet lived. Thank you. I will make sure this gets to her family.
I must take my leave.
Good day, Inquisitor.
Of you, sir.
Anyone need a hand? Nice job in that last fight, Solus. You really kicked the crap out of that guy.
I suppose.
What? You don't think so? You ripped him a new one. It was great.
Unless the fight is personal, violence is a means to an end. It isn't appropriate to celebrate.
I don't know. Gotta wonder about anyone who fights as much as we do and doesn't have some fun with it.
We have fought living men, with loves and families. And all that they might have been is gone.
Yeah, but they were assholes. Gristle, the Elder One, is some crazy Vint asshole, huh?
I'm not thrilled to discover we should take those old legends at face value.
Guess he thinks the modern Imperium is a real letdown, too.
Why wouldn't he? Tevinter once covered all Thedas, its glory only matched by its depravity. It'd be like Koslan showing up and learning the Qunari didn't conquer the world after all.
Yes. Priesthood's been trying to explain that one for centuries.
It's quiet here. I like it.
One of the Templar targets. Sad that it came to this, but at least it is done.
This is nice. Wet all the way from my ankle to my... other ankle.
Elven magic somewhere nearby. Working. The Dalish remember fragments of fragments. But that is more than most.
The note. It claims this red lyrium's not coming from the deep roads. Another letter on the smugglers, referring to Samson.
So, how you doing?
What a lovely forest. Kind of makes you want to retch, yes?
Another letter mentioning Samson, and papers with names. Cullen could use this.
Canary would accept a Tevinter mage so easily, unless it was a ruse. When should I expect a knife in the back?
You ever use that fancy magic of yours to burn down a dormitory full of kids?
Not today.
Then I wouldn't worry. A lot of other people need a knife in the back first.
does the Qunari priesthood tell your people about losing the war?
The usual. Water comes, water goes, but eventually the tides wear away the mountain, blah, blah, blah.
They've been fighting Tevinter for centuries and still haven't won.
Wait, you think we've been at war all this time?
It's barely an eye-watering slap fight, I'll grant you, but every now and again it heats up.
That's just force of habit. A real invasion's different.
What are they waiting for?
Don't know. Someone to tell someone to tell someone it's on again, I guess.
There! A rogue mage! It's over. Thank you for bringing us here.
Planning troop movements now.
I'm trying to imagine what it will look like when we're done. All of this once belonged to the Tevinter Imperium. Andraste changed that, as did the Blights. As for what will come next, I cannot guess the Maker's plan.
We make the world a better place.
Because everyone agrees on what better means. I know I want a world where people trust the Chantry and that trust is respected. I want to respect tradition, but not fear change. I want to right past wrongs, but not avenge them. And I have no idea if my wanting these things makes any of them right.
Even if they're not right, they're certainly admirable.
Some would disagree. They would call it heresy.
That didn't sound like the ravings of a heretic, Cassandra.
Perhaps not. But it takes precious little effort to paint even an act of compassion as damaging. Tell me, what guides you? You make decisions that shake the world, yet always seem so assured. I wish I had your confidence.
You almost sound like you admire me.
I absolutely do. I may not always agree with your decisions, but how many could do what you have done? You were a prisoner, accused and reviled, yet you've emerged from every trial victorious. The Maker's grace does not make you immortal. You live or die by your own hand. That is worthy of admiration.
I'm not that assured. I just make it up as I go.
Let all your followers take heart.
What can I say? It's worked so far.
Think of it. Like Andraste long ago, once again the fate of Thedas will be determined by a woman. It makes me proud to know you.
I appreciate that.
We still have a long road to travel, Inquisitor. Wherever it takes us, I'm glad you're here.
How many have trained here, I wonder?
At your order.
The papers you found on the Red Lyrium smugglers were exactly what we needed. We have the location of the Red Templars' main supply of lyrium. You'll never guess where.
Right under Skyhold.
Actually, it's better. Sarnia, you've already dealt with the Red Templars there.
That was Samson's Red Lyrium supply.
The past tense is apt. We should send some people to sift through what's left. With some luck, we can track the shipments from the quarry to Samson's headquarters.
Alrighty-os, so I honestly did not know what to even do at this point, but nonetheless, we had a good chunk of things done. In Empress de Leon, to the Exalted Plains, the Emerald Graves, did some side stuff with some characters, and obviously when we get back, we're going to continue doing those side stuff. The one for Cassandra. Obviously, we're gonna do Josephine's ones as well. Although hers might be a big priority because we need to set in their relationship before we start the Wicked Eyes of Wicked Hearts. Do this one for Colin. And just before we move on to maybe do some stuff here in the Crestwood as well, because I thought you have to do stuff in the Crestwood for some of their personal side stuff, but it turns out you don't have to. So that's lucky, I guess. But other than that, we'll stop here. We'll be back with this again another time, and as always, leave a like and comments.